Hey everybody, what's going on? I said I would be back later this summer if there was any Montreal Canadiens news to talk about, and that's exactly what we have for this video today. Before we get started with this video, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. It's as easy as clicking in the bottom right hand corner of this video. Now, the Montreal Canadiens made another big August splash under Kent Hughes, which appears to be a trend that's happened over the last two seasons as well. So I think that might be something we could grow to expect with this Montreal Canadiens regime. But the Habs went out and acquired Patrik Laine from the Columbus Blue Jackets earlier this week, and I think there's a lot of reasons to be excited about the Montreal Canadiens pouncing on Laine at this type of value. If you look at it like you look at the stock market, you want to buy low and you want to sell high. The Montreal Canadiens undoubtedly bought low on Patrik Laine, and they should be able to implement him pretty easily into this locker room after he did come out of the player assistance program earlier this year. I think there's reason to be excited about what Laine brings to the table for this Montreal Canadiens team. He has one of the best shots in the NHL with his elite release and just how he possesses the puck as well. He's not someone that's going to rush with the puck up the ice a lot. He's not someone that has the puck on his stick a lot. But when he does have the puck on his stick, it's likely going to be fired toward the net. And he's someone that can really make a difference, whether it's on the power play, whether it's at even strength. And I just think there's a lot of reasons to be excited about acquiring Laine, and there's not really any downside to this deal as well, with the Montreal Canadiens also getting a second round pick in 2026 from the Columbus Blue Jackets for Jordan Harris in return. As much as Harris is a quality person on and off the ice and likely is a strong depth defender in the NHL, I don't know that he necessarily has a ceiling as a defenseman. I think if you really wanted to get excited about him, he's probably a number 5 in the NHL. And with the Montreal Canadiens' plethora of depth on the back end right now, they can afford to make that type of trade, especially when you factor in the upside that Laine brings to the table for this Montreal Canadiens team. In terms of where you're likely going to see him slot in the lineup, right now it looks as though Kirby Dach will center that second line with Patrik Laine and Alex Newhook. You're looking for that type of center that Laine can thrive off of, and Mark Scheifele has a lot of similarities to what Kirby Dach can do with the Montreal Canadiens, and I think that's when Laine had his most success with the Winnipeg Jets. So I do believe that there's a lot of reasons to be excited about Laine in a Montreal Canadiens uniform. His recent success of really bringing up those players that have that high pedigree but haven't really found success of late, like the Kirby Dach. I know he had an injury-plagued season last year, but you know the upside is there with the progression that we've seen him have in a Habs uniform. Then you have Sean Monahan as well doing the same thing with the Montreal Canadiens. You see Alex Newhook and what he can potentially bring to the table for this Montreal Canadiens team. And that just kind of shows that you should be bullish about this type of move, this type of trade for a player of Patrik Laine's caliber. The Habs have continued to prove that they can really develop these players and really help them reach that ceiling as a player. And I think that we've already seen that ceiling for Laine in the NHL. And now that he's kind of refound himself as a person and a player, we're likely going to see that same type of production from Laine. I think you can expect somewhere between 25 and 35 goals. I don't think that's really an unreasonable expectation for Laine with the Montreal Canadiens. I think he has that ceiling in him still, but I like to think you want to start low, and then once you can kind of see where he fits into the system, how he plays under Martin St. Louis, then you can start to really gas him up as a player and really get excited about how he can be in this Montreal Canadiens system and what we're going to expect from him moving forward. I don't know right now. It's hard to say if he's going to be a long-term fixture in the Montreal Canadiens uniform. That's really going to depend on how he plays in his first season with the Montreal Canadiens and how he fits into this Montreal Canadiens organization. That's not all that I wanted to touch on this video as well. The Montreal Canadiens released their annual draft documentary yesterday, and the center of that was Ivan Demidov, the Montreal Canadiens' first-round pick. It's just really easy to get excited about what the Montreal Canadiens have in Demidov as a prospect and as a person as well. He just brings that energy to the table that you're looking for in a star talent. He has that confidence, but he doesn't border it on cocky. He's just a really confident player. And then you see what he's doing already in the preseason, and you just can kind of see the goal scoring capability that it brings to the table, the creativity, the playmaking. It's just all there with Demidov right now. If you haven't seen some of the highlights, go to find them because Demidov is already showing what he can be as an NHL player down the line. I think that next season you're going to see Demidov with the Habs, but this season you need to really focus on his development in the KHL, and you have to hope that he's going to get the ice time he deserves in that league. That's it for me today from Cook's Corner. As always, let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts on the Patrik Laine trade and what you're thinking of Ivan Demidov after you saw the Montreal Canadiens release their draft video yesterday and his early preseason highlights. I'm Zach Cook. We'll see you later.